Lena stepped off the transport ship and wrinkled her nose at Earth's strange smell. Her blue skin glowed faintly in the morning sunlight as she adjusted her environmental suit settings. The Meridian xenobiologist had traveled 12 light years to study primitive humans, and she was already regretting it. "Welcome to Earth Central Research Facility," said a tall human male approaching her. "I'm Dr. Taehyun Kim, head of xenobiology. You must be researcher Lena." She nodded stiffly, noting his inefficient bipedal movement. Humans were so basic. "I trust your journey was comfortable," Taehyun asked, leading her toward a large white building. "Adequate," Lena replied. She didn't mention the 17 sleep cycles she spent reviewing human biological data and laughing at their reproduction methods. Meridians had evolved beyond such primitive functions centuries ago. The research facility impressed her despite herself. Clean labs with advanced equipment lined long hallways. Other alien researchers nodded as they passed. At least the interspecies cultural exchange program attracted some respectable scientists. "Your quarters are here," Taehyun said, stopping at a door. "We've adjusted the atmosphere and gravity to Meridian standards." "Acceptable," Lena said, though she was secretly pleased by the thoughtfulness. "Tomorrow's orientation begins at 800. We'll cover human biology basics for visiting researchers." Lena's skin rippled with blue-green spots, a Meridian sign of amusement. "I've already studied human biology extensively, particularly your reproduction. It's fascinating how undeveloped it remains." Taehyun's face showed that human expression. Was it embarrassment? Yes, well, there's always more to learn in person than from data files. The next morning, Lena sat in the front row as Taehyun began his presentation on human biology. Her skin flickered with barely concealed mirth when he reached reproduction. "Unlike many advanced species," Taehyun explained, "humans still reproduce through physical mating rather than technological methods." "Excuse me," Lena interrupted, unable to contain herself. "Are you saying humans still exchange bodily fluids and genetic material through direct contact, without optimization algorithms or genetic screening?" Several researchers turned to look at her. "Yes," Taehyun answered calmly. "We maintain biological reproduction methods." "But why?" Lena asked. "Meridians evolved beyond this inefficiency 3 centuries ago. Our reproduction labs ensure perfect genetic combinations without messy emotion or physical contact." Taehyun smiled patiently. "Human reproduction involves more than genetics. There are psychological, emotional, and cultural aspects that technology cannot replace." "That's precisely the problem," Lena said. "Emotions interfere with optimal genetic selection. Our way is superior." "Perhaps in efficiency," Taehyun conceded, "but not necessarily in every way that matters." Lena's skin darkened with what humans might call irritation. What other ways could possibly matter? After the lecture, Taehyun approached her. "I've assigned you to my research team. We're studying biological adaptations across species." "I would prefer independent research," Lena replied. "Program rules require collaboration," he said firmly. "Besides, you might learn something unexpected." Their first research session was tense. Lena insisted on redoing Taehyun's work, certain his methods were flawed. When he patiently explained his reasoning, she reluctantly admitted his approach had merit. "You know," Taehyun said as they examined cell cultures, "many humans find Meridian reproduction cold and impersonal." "Because humans are ruled by hormones and emotions," she replied. "Is that so bad?" "Emotions guide many of our greatest achievements." "And your greatest failures," Lena countered. Taehyun smiled. "Fair point. But tell me, how do Meridians choose their reproduction partners?" "We don't choose partners. The Genetic Selection Committee identifies optimal matches based on genetic diversity and desired traits." "So you have no say at all?" Lena hesitated. "We can submit preferences for non-genetic traits, intelligence, professional accomplishments, but not personal connection. That would be inefficient." Taehyun nodded. "I see. Well, Humans value choice and connection highly. It may seem primitive, but there's wisdom in it too. Later that week, Lena observed a human family visiting the facility. A mother, father, and small child. The way they touched each other casually, the laughter they shared, confused her. Her own creation had been precisely engineered in a lab. She met her genetic donors only at formal education ceremonies. That night, she reviewed footage of human families. Their inefficient reproduction created something her species lacked. Physical bonds that seemed to transcend mere genetics. It was puzzling. The next day, she watched Tae-hyun more carefully. His careful hands, his patient explanations, the warmth in his eyes when speaking about his work. Something strange flickered through her biology. A response she couldn't name. "There's more to learn here than I expected," she admitted reluctantly as they finished their work. Tae-hyun smiled. "That's why cultural exchange matters. We all have something to learn from each other." Lena's skin brightened slightly. "Perhaps, though I still think human reproduction is wildly inefficient. Give it time," Tae-hyun said with a knowing smile. "You might find there's method in our madness." For the first time since arriving, Lena wondered if she might actually learn something valuable from these strange humans after all. 3 months into her Earth assignment, Lena found herself changing in small ways. Her blue skin now sometimes showed tiny purple spots when she was around Tae-hyun, something that had never happened before. Meridian skin colors reflected their internal states, and purple was not in her normal range. "Your chromatophores are displaying unusual patterns," noted Dr. Jun, another human researcher, during their weekly physical checkup. "It's nothing," Lena said quickly. "Just an adaptation to Earth's light spectrum." But she knew it wasn't that simple. Something was happening to her body, something she couldn't explain with science. Lena now spent every day in Tae-hyun's lab, even when her research didn't require it. She found herself watching how his hands moved while working, how his eyes crinkled when he smiled. These observations had no scientific value, yet she couldn't stop. One afternoon, they both reached for the same microscope slide. Their fingers touched briefly. Lena felt an electric jolt through her secondary heart system. Her skin flashed bright purple before she could control it. "Are you okay?" Tae-hyun asked, concerned. "Fine," she said sharply. "Just a minor biological response to static electricity." That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She ran diagnostics on her body systems, but found nothing wrong. Yet her heart beat faster whenever she thought about Tae-hyun. This was illogical. Meridians didn't experience such primitive responses. The next morning, an alarm blared through the facility. Researchers rushed to the main hall where Director Park stood grim-faced. "The Centaurian delegation has accused Earth of stealing their biotech," he announced. "They've threatened to cut all diplomatic ties unless we prove our innocence within 7 days." Lena knew this was serious. Centaurians controlled important trade routes near Meridian space. "I need our top researchers to prepare a comprehensive report on all our current projects," Director Park continued. "Tae-hyun, you'll lead the human team. Lena, as our highest-ranking Meridian scientist, please assist him." Lena's skin flickered with blue dots of stress and purple spots of something else. They were assigned a private lab to work in. For 5 days, they worked late into the night, examining records and preparing defense documents. "This is a disaster," Tae-hyun sighed on the 3rd night. He looked tired, his usually neat hair messy from running his hands through it. "Why would Centaurians make such accusations?" Lena asked. "Politics, probably. They've been looking for excuses to restrict Earth's growing influence." Working so closely with Tae-hyun, Lena noticed things she never had before. How he always made sure she had fresh water, knowing Meridians needed more hydration than humans. How he remembered her preference for cooler temperatures. How he listened carefully to her ideas. No Meridian had ever paid such attention to her personal needs. On her world, such considerations were deemed inefficient. On the 4th night, working past midnight, Tae-hyun suddenly asked, "What's it like on Meridia?" Do you miss home? The question surprised her. Meridia is perfectly organized. Everything functions with optimal efficiency. That's not what I asked, he said gently. Lena hesitated. I don't miss it as much as I should. Earth is chaotic and primitive, but there's something alive about it. Like what? The way humans touch each other casually. The way you laugh together. The inefficient conversations about feelings and preferences. Taehyun smiled. Those inefficient things make life worth living. Meridians would disagree. We value function over feeling. Do you? Always. Lena didn't answer. She wasn't sure anymore. On the 5th day, while reviewing Centaurian claims, Lena noticed something. This biotech they claim we stole. The molecular structure is wrong, she said, pointing to the screen. The Centaurian version has a different protein sequence than what Earth developed. Taehyun looked closely. You're right. They're similar, but definitely not the same technology. This proves Earth didn't steal their research, Lena said excitedly. Lena, you just saved Earth-Centaurian relations. Without thinking, Taehyun hugged her. No one had ever hugged Lena before. Meridians didn't touch casually. Her skin exploded with purple light, her heart's racing wildly. Every nerve in her body seemed to wake up at once. Instead of pulling away, she found herself leaning into his warmth. When Taehyun stepped back, embarrassed, Lena felt oddly empty. I'm sorry, he said. I forgot Meridians don't like physical contact. It's informative, she managed to say. For my research. They presented their findings to the Centaurian delegation the next day. The evidence was clear, and the diplomatic crisis was averted. At the celebration afterward, Lena watched humans laughing, touching, dancing. Her scientific mind understood these were just biological responses, yet they seemed like more than that now. May I join you? Taehyun asked, sitting beside her. I don't understand what's happening to me, Lena admitted quietly. My biology is responding in ways it shouldn't. My skin changes color around you. My heart's beat faster. Taehyun looked at her thoughtfully. What if your species' biology isn't so different from ours after all? What if your reproduction technology just bypassed these natural responses, but didn't eliminate the capacity for them? That's impossible, Lena said, but without conviction. Is it? Taehyun asked. You're a scientist. Maybe this deserves further investigation. As she looked at him, Lena felt that strange flutter again. For the first time in her life, she wondered if meridian efficiency had sacrificed something valuable. Something human. Perhaps, she said slowly, her skin glowing a steady purple. This requires more research. Lena couldn't sleep again. Her quarters felt too empty, too quiet. Her mind kept returning to Taehyun's hug and the strange feelings it caused. This wasn't scientific. This wasn't meridian. Yet she couldn't deny what was happening to her body. She decided to investigate properly. If she was experiencing some kind of biological reaction, she would document it with the thoroughness of a true scientist. The next morning, she arrived at the lab earlier than usual. Taehyun found her already working, surrounded by sample vials and data tablets. You're here early, he said, smiling. Her skin instantly flashed purple. Interesting. She noted this reaction in her file. I'm conducting a personal research project, she explained. I need samples of human biochemistry to compare with my own. Taehyun looked curious. What kind of research? Lena hesitated. I'm investigating possible biocompatibility between our species. Biocompatibility. Like. His eyes widened slightly. Not for reproduction purposes, she said quickly, her skin darkening with blue embarrassment spots. Simply to understand why my biology is responding to human proximity. I see, Taehyun said. How can I help? I need blood, tissue, and pheromone samples from a human male. Would you be willing? Taehyun rolled up his sleeve. In the name of science, of course. For 3 weeks, Lena worked obsessively. She compared meridian and human DNA sequences, analyzed hormonal responses, and tested chemical reactions between their cellular structures. One evening, while running genetic comparisons, her computer flashed a match alert. She stared at the screen, unable to believe what she was seeing. "This can't be right," she whispered, running the test again. The results were the same. A specific protein sequence found in human DNA matched one in Meridian DNA with 98.7% similarity. This wasn't random. This suggested a shared evolutionary ancestor, despite their planets being light years apart. She worked through the night, following this unexpected lead. By morning, she had a theory so shocking she could barely process it. When Taehyun arrived, he found her still at the computer, her skin pale blue with exhaustion. "Have you been here all night?" he asked, concerned. "I found something impossible," she said, her voice unsteady. "Look at this." She showed him the matching genetic sequences and her analysis. "This suggests our species share an ancestor," she explained. "The statistical probability of such similar sequences evolving independently is virtually zero." Taehyun studied the data carefully. "How is this possible? Our planets never had contact before the space age." "I have a theory," Lena said, "ancient cosmic seeding. Some scientists believe basic life forms could travel between stars inside meteorites. What if both Earth and Meridia were seeded by the same source billions of years ago?" "That would mean, despite evolving separately," Taehyun said slowly, "our basic biology has the same foundation." "Yes," Lena said, "and it would explain why my body is responding to yours. My species developed reproduction technology so long ago that we forgot our bodies might be compatible with other similar species." She showed him another screen displaying her biochemical analysis. "Human pheromones are activating dormant systems in my biology. Systems that Meridians evolved beyond using but never completely lost." Taehyun sat down, looking stunned. "So your body is essentially remembering how to—" He trailed off. "How to respond to potential mates," Lena finished, her skin now completely purple. "Yes." The silence between them felt electric. "There's more," she continued. "Look at these hormonal readings from my system after our physical contact. My body is producing chemicals similar to human attraction hormones. Chemicals Meridians haven't naturally produced in centuries." "What does this mean for you?" Taehyun asked quietly. Lena's scientific detachment was slipping away. "It means what I'm experiencing isn't just curiosity. It's biological attraction. My body recognizes yours as compatible on a level my society has tried to engineer away." "And how do you feel about that?" Taehyun asked, his voice gentle. For once, Lena didn't have a scientific answer. Confused, frightened, but also her skin glowed brighter, alive in a way I've never felt before. Taehyun reached out slowly and touched her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. Her skin rippled with waves of purple light. "This should be impossible," she whispered. "Many great discoveries seemed impossible at first," Taehyun said. That evening, Lena contacted the Meridian Science Academy with her findings. Their response was immediate and harsh. "Cease this unscientific research immediately," the head researcher commanded. "These claims are biologically impossible and bring shame to Meridian science." But Lena now had evidence that Meridian scientific dogma was wrong. Her own body was proof. She showed Taehyun the message. "They won't even consider the possibility," she said. "What will you do?" he asked. Lena thought about the cold, efficient world she came from, a world that had engineered away the feelings now flowing through her body, a world that would reject her discovery without consideration. "Continue my research," she said firmly. "If Meridians and humans share biological compatibility, it changes everything we know about both our species. It could change relations between our worlds," Taehyun agreed. "It's already changed me," Lena admitted softly. Her skin glowed a deep, steady purple as Taehyun took her hand in his. For the first time in her life, Lena understood why humans clung so stubbornly to their inefficient emotional ways. Some knowledge couldn't be found in labs or data. Some truths could only be discovered through experience. Lena stared at the results on her screen, then at her own hands. Her blue skin now showed permanent purple undertones, a physical manifestation of the changes happening inside her body. 3 days had passed since her discovery about Meridian and human genetic compatibility, and each day brought new revelations. "These hormone levels shouldn't be possible," she murmured, comparing her current readings to her baseline from arrival on Earth. Her body was producing chemicals that hadn't naturally occurred in Meridians for centuries, chemicals related to attraction, bonding, and reproduction. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Taehyun entered with 2 cups of tea. "Working late again?" he asked, placing 1 cup beside her. "My body continues to change," she said, showing him the data. "The dormant systems are becoming more active each day." Taehyun studied the readings. "Are you concerned?" "I should be," Lena admitted. By Meridian standards, this would be considered a serious biological malfunction. She paused, her skin pulsing with waves of purple light. "But I'm not concerned. I'm fascinated." Their eyes met, and Lena felt that now familiar flutter in her hearts. No longer did she try to dismiss it as a mere anomaly. "I've been thinking about something you said when I first arrived," Lena said quietly, "about human reproduction being more than genetic transfer, about it involving emotional and psychological elements." "I remember," Taehyun said. "I didn't understand then. I thought Meridian methods were superior because they were more efficient." Her voice softened. "But efficiency isn't everything, is it?" Taehyun reached out slowly and touched her hand. The simple contact sent waves of sensation through her body. "No," he said, "it isn't." That touch began something neither of them had planned. Over the following weeks, Lena experienced what it meant to form a connection that was both biological and emotional. Each new sensation was both terrifying and wonderful. The way her heart raced when Taehyun entered a room, the warmth that spread through her body when they touched, the strange new feelings that made it hard to think clearly. She documented everything with scientific precision, even as she was overwhelmed by the experiences themselves. Her notes became a groundbreaking research journal chronicling a Meridian experiencing attraction and intimacy for the first time. "My skin sensitivity has increased by 217%. She noted one evening as Taehyun's fingers traced patterns on her arm. The neural pathways appeared to be reactivating. Taehyun smiled. "Only you would measure something like this." "I'm still a scientist," she said, but her voice trembled as his hand moved to her face. "And what does the scientist observe now?" he asked softly. Lena's scientific detachment was slipping away. "I observe that some things cannot be measured with instruments." Their first kiss sent her biological readings off the charts. Systems dormant for generations awakened fully. Her skin glowed so brightly they didn't need lights. Later, trying to document the experience, Lena found her usual precise language failing her. How could she describe these sensations in scientific terms? They were beyond measurement, beyond analysis. When they finally experienced full intimacy, Lena understood why humans had never abandoned biological reproduction despite its inefficiency. The connection was more than physical. It was a merging of bodies and emotions that no laboratory process could replicate. Afterward, lying beside Taehyun, Lena's skin glowed with a deep, steady purple light. "Are you all right?" he asked, concerned. "My biological systems are experiencing changes I never thought possible," she said. "My body is remembering patterns it hasn't used in centuries." "Is it dangerous for you?" Lena considered this. "No, it's actually the opposite. These systems were natural to my species before we engineered them away. What's happening is more like remembering something forgotten." She turned to face him. Meridians pride themselves on moving beyond emotional responses, beyond physical need for others. We see it as evolution. But what if it wasn't evolution at all? What if we lost something valuable when we abandoned this way of connecting? What will you do with all this research? Taehyun asked. Lena hadn't considered this fully. Her findings would challenge everything Meridians believed about themselves. I need to share it, she decided. My people need to know what we've forgotten. Her report to the Meridian Science Academy was comprehensive and meticulously documented. It detailed not just the genetic compatibility between humans and Meridians, but also the reawakening of dormant biological systems and the psychological impact of experiencing connection. The Academy's response was immediate. They ordered her to return to Meridia for biological correction. They want to reset my body to Meridian standard patterns, she told Taehyun, showing him the message. They see this as a contamination to be fixed. What will you do? He asked, his concern evident. Lena looked at her purple-tinged skin, physical evidence of her transformation. She thought about returning to the cold efficiency of Meridia, having these awakened feelings shut down again. I won't go back, she said firmly. Not yet. Not until they're ready to consider that what I've experienced isn't a malfunction, but a rediscovery of something we lost. That night, as Taehyun slept beside her, Lena reflected on how far she had come. She had arrived on Earth believing human reproduction was primitive and laughable. Now she understood it was anything but simple. It was complex, profound, and transformative in ways Meridian science had never acknowledged. Her skin glowed softly in the darkness as she made her decision. This was too important to abandon. Some truths could only be learned through experience, and she had experienced something her entire species needed to understand. 1 year after her discovery, Lena stood before the Meridian Science Council. Her skin now permanently displayed purple undertones, a visible sign of her transformation. The 7 council members watched her with expressions ranging from scientific curiosity to obvious disgust. Researcher Lena, said head counselor Mori, you have requested this hearing to present findings that challenge our fundamental understanding of Meridian biology. Proceed. Lena activated her presentation display. Images of DNA strands appeared, showing the matching sequences between human and Meridian genetic codes. Esteemed Council, my research confirms that Meridians and humans share a distant evolutionary ancestor. Our species are genetically compatible in ways we never imagined possible. Murmurs spread through the chamber. One council member spoke up. This contradicts 3 centuries of established science. Yes, Lena agreed simply. It does. She moved to the next display, showing scans of her own body. These images track the changes in my biology over 14 Earth months. My dormant reproductive and emotional systems reactivated through sustained contact with compatible human biochemistry. Counselor Terry leaned forward. You allowed this contamination to continue. Why didn't you seek correction immediately? Because it isn't contamination, Lena said firmly. It's recovery of systems our ancestors naturally possessed. Systems we engineered away believing they were inefficient. She touched a control, and now the screen showed brain scans. These neural pathways were considered vestigial by Meridian medicine. My research proves they are actually critical to emotional bonding and connection. Experiences our reproduction technology bypassed but never truly replaced. The youngest council member, Dory, studied the scans with interest. These pathways show significantly increased activity. What effects did this have on your cognitive functions? It changed how I process information, Lena explained. I gained perspective that pure logic cannot provide. Emotional connections create understanding that transcends data analysis. Head counselor Mori's skin flashed with blue skepticism. You speak of emotions as if they have scientific value. Emotions are inefficient. This is why we evolved beyond them. With respect, counselor, we didn't evolve beyond emotions. We suppressed them, Lena countered. And in doing so, we lost something profound. She showed new images, herself with Taehyun, her skin glowing bright purple as they worked together in the lab, as they touched, as they shared experiences. I came to Earth believing human reproduction was primitive. I laughed at their inefficient methods, their messy emotions, their physical connections. Her voice softened. I was wrong. What humans maintain isn't primitive. It's fundamental. The bond between beings isn't just biological. It's emotional, psychological, and spiritual in ways our technology cannot replicate. The council chamber fell silent. Lena took a deep breath and continued. I'm not suggesting we abandon our technology or return to biological reproduction methods. I'm proposing we recognize what we've lost and consider integrating these natural connections back into Meridian life. What exactly are you proposing? Asked Counselor Dory. A new research initiative, Lena said. The Meridian Human Connection Project, a long-term study of the biological and emotional benefits of reconnecting with our natural systems. Skepticism showed clearly on most council members' skin patterns, but Counselor Dory showed hints of purple interest. Your condition, said Head Counselor Mori. Is it reversible? Lena's purple skin glowed brighter. It is, but I choose not to reverse it. What I've experienced has made me a better scientist and a more complete being. The council deliberated for 3 days. When they finally reached their decision, Lena and Taeyun waited nervously outside the chamber. Whatever they decide, Taeyun said, squeezing her hand, we've already changed things just by being together. Counselor Dory emerged from the chamber. The council has reached a decision. Her skin showed unusual patterns, hints of purple breaking through the traditional blue. Your research has been difficult for many to accept, but the evidence is compelling. Lena held her breath. The Meridian Human Connection Project has been approved, Dory continued. On a limited basis, with strict oversight, you will lead the research alongside your human colleague. Lena's skin glowed so brightly that Dory had to shield her eyes. There is a condition, Dory added. The council requests that you document all aspects of your experience, including, her skin flickered with embarrassment, the emotional components. Many Meridians are curious about what we've engineered away. 6 months later, the Meridian Human Research Center opened on a neutral space station between Earth and Meridia. Lena and Taeyun led a team of scientists from both worlds, studying the biological and emotional connections between species. The first Meridian volunteers arrived hesitantly, their blue skin showing skepticism. But as they interacted with humans, tiny purple spots began to appear on some of them. Dormant systems awakening, just as Lena's had. In their private quarters, Lena and Taeyun reviewed the day's research data. 3 more Meridians showed initial hormonal responses today. Lena noted, updating their records. Are you surprised? Taeyun asked. Lena smiled, her purple skin glowing warmly. No. What's natural can't be engineered away forever. She looked at the final page of her research journal, the one that had started with mockery of human reproduction and ended with a profound transformation. The journey from laughing at humans to understanding them had changed her forever. We're building a bridge between worlds, she said softly. Between ways of being, Taeyun added, taking her hand. Outside their window, Earth and Meridia were distant points of light in the vast darkness. Once separated by more than just space, now connected by understanding that began with one alien girl who stopped laughing long enough to learn.